Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming. We gathered here at a very historic part of our community today as we continue to honor and revel in the presence of Mayor Sirleaf. We're glad to have you in our city, as well as our ambassador from Liberia as well. Wanted to recognize Councilmember Molly Light, who is the council member for the South Ward, which we're in, I think. Not quite. We could move it there. Okay. And Councilmember Jeff McIntosh from the Northwest Ward. So today we're doing a couple of things down here. First, we're going to, I'm going to do a proclamation naming this street here in honor of the President. We've already installed the sign, but in order to make it official, Madam President, I'm going to issue this proclamation. I won't read all of it, but whereas Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was born October 29th, 1938 in Monrovia, Liberia, a graduate of the College of West Africa. She went on and received her bachelor's degree in accounting from the Madison Business College in Madison, Wisconsin, an economics degree from the University of Colorado, and a master's degree in public administration from Harvard University. And whereas President Sirleaf is the world's first elected black female president, and Africa's first democratically elected female head of state. Amen. She is serving her second term as president after winning the 2011 presidential election. She is one of three who won the Nobel Peace Prize laureate in 2011. Whereas she's a strong advocate for the advancement of Liberia. She's credited with rebuilding her nation and maintaining peace following 14 years of civil war that preceded her election. She also helped lead her country out of the Ebola crisis in 2014, and the economy there is beginning to grow. Whereas she is a true definition of freedom, justice, and equality of all people of Liberia. She's a loving mother of James, Charles, Robert, James, Adama, and Fomba, and the grandmother of 14 grandchildren. Now therefore I, Alan Joins, Mayor of the City of Winston-Salem, do hereby proclaim that the area along the above intersections, which is Alder and Liberia Street, shall be known as President Sirleaf Lane. And I request, and I've directed the city manager to install the street sign commemorating this, and I signed this the 24th day of September. So, Madam President, we're glad to honor you in this way. And now I'm going to turn the program over to Mr. Honorary, who is the president of the Liberian Association. Of course, we have the chairman of the board here, Mose Bilton, as well. But Mr. Honorary.
Good morning. Good morning. Madam President, Mr. Mayor, elected officer and former elected officer, my good old friend, Lara Wamba, officer and members of the Liberian Organization of the Piedmont and the Happy Hill Neighborhood Association, ladies and gentlemen, today is a great day. We gather here and we stand on the broad shoulders of former slaves, former slave masters. It is the vision of the Liberian Organization of the Piedmont to be able to transform minds. Therefore, we have decided on a project to build student housing that would aid Liberia in the capacity building of our brain drain country as a result of a tragic 14-year civil war followed by the Ebola epidemic. So through this effort, we hope to have a student housing that will accommodate students from Liberia to attend area institutions of higher learning. So at this time, I'd like to turn the floor over to Mr. Callahan Is he here? Okay. Okay, good. Mr. Callahan will go over the rendering as you see.
Y'all see?
Thank you.
You see? Well, thank you very much. It's a great opportunity to be here and to show this wonderful idea of how Liberian student housing could be located somewhere on a hypothetical site here along Liberia Street in Winston-Salem. Our firm, Walter Robbs, Callahan & Pierce, was asked, and we were most happy to assist the organization in creating a vision of what the possibilities were for this wonderful housing project. So what we came up with, let me turn this a little bit this way, was the idea of how a residential type facility, which is fairly large when you start thinking about 20 beds, could be located somewhere in the Happy Hill neighborhood. So we created, I'm going to step back a little bit, we created the idea that it would be made of two components, a 20-bed housing component and then office and archives section. So we subdivided it, knowing that the property here is on the side of a hill, how a two-story or a story and a half really, with the upper level being the housing component and then the lower level being the archives and offices, and they would be separated by two different entrances from a control perspective. So we laid out a floor plan that divided the upper housing into two sections, one the women's side with 8 beds, the male side with 12 beds, and then with the central gathering social capital kind of space in the middle, then with a set of stairs that leads down to the archive space and office and storage space for the organization. So we think this is just an idea of how this type of facility could be incorporated into this wonderful neighborhood and truly bring value to both the organization, to Liberian students who come over for a period of time, and a building block for the continued revitalization of Happy Hill. All right, thank you.
Well, certainly that's an exciting project, Mr. Hunter. We congratulate the Piedmont or the Liberian organization, the Piedmont, for this great idea of bringing it forward, and we look forward to working with you and trying to bring this forward. So I think that concludes our official part of this program. As we did this, the president's going to now go to another event, and then we'll end up the day there. So, Madam President, thank you. Would you like to address the group?
Just to say thanks.
Yes, thank you. Please do.
Well, what an honor. I've been resisting at home people naming things after me because I said you don't do that when I'm in office. Do it when I leave office.
Right.
But since this is not at home, I'm very pleased to accept it and to
Wonderful.
take this back home. Is a great honor. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Congressman, and all of you who've been a part of this. We go back, and like I say, when we see that, it's an honor not only to me, but an honor to the Liberian people. Because what I'm able to do is because of their support, because of what they do to enable us to go around and to do things that bring us honor on their behalf. Thank the architect, is it?
Yes.
For this. I think it's a great initiative. And Mr. Hunter and the Liberian Organization of the Piedmont for what you continue to do to support the Liberian students who are preparing themselves for their professional work at home. To thank you for all of that and everything that you've done since I've been here. With a warm welcome, with the honor, is something that we will always remember as part of those things that really go to the heart. And to thank you for the friendship and for all that you do for Liberia. Thank you again.